which is $3,135, and then my after hours fee is going to be $800.
I'm a nurse and I have this salary, so yes, $50,000 for making cookies is ridiculous.
I recently quit my job, and unfortunately the biggest takeaway that I've had from my jobs thus far into my 20s is that I never want to work for a small business again.
If you are placing online orders like this at a small coffee shop, I sincerely hope you go bald. So today we're talking about small businesses, and more specifically why people are slowly but surely falling out of love with them. And look, before anyone comes for me here in these comments, just hear me out. We know times are hard. Inflation is real, overhead is real, and running a small business in this economy is certainly not the easiest thing in the world. But as we're going to see today, the economy it's not the whole story. We have owners who are charging prices they simply cannot justify, safety risks that customers don't even know that they're being exposed to, and an attitude that seems to forget that customers are not actually obligated to spend money with them. At some point, you kind of have to ask yourself, are people being unsupportive or are they being pushed away? So buckle up, because the further we go, the more entitled the videos become. But before we get into it, about 4% of you watching are subscribed. If you're into video topics like this, hit that subscribe button. Now let's get into the video. So let's kick things off with something that we have all felt before. That weird small pressure that you get when you walk into a small business. There's kind of this unspoken rule that you owe them a little bit of your money, if not at least your time. And apparently even an explanation on why you left without buying anything. So let's take a look at how this plays out.
Do you know what's my favorite excuse for someone who comes in and doesn't buy anything? Like, legitimately, this is my favorite excuse. It doesn't hurt my feelings, and you should use this. If you go into small business and you walk around, and you know you always feel that like guilt that you feel like you should buy something or what. I just had a woman come in, and this happens all the time, and she like took a quick lap, and she's like, I'm so sorry, I don't have a lot of time today. I will definitely come back. Thank you. I love that excuse. I love that excuse. I don't have a lot of time to look around today. I will come back another day. Perfect. I love you. Thank you so much. Have a good day. I think that that's a nice excuse. I like that excuse. I'm going to use it. I can't help but buy something every time I go into small business.
Now, I understand what she's saying, right? It's something to make her as a small business owner feel a lot better, because let's be honest, being a small business owner is not an easy feat. It's not very easy to do. So when someone walks into your store, you're a little bit hopeful. You're like, oh, someone's going to buy something from me. And then they leave. And so you're like, well, why did you leave my store? I think my stuff is great. I don't think everyone necessarily owes you an explanation, right? Now, obviously, I'm not going to go into a Target or a Walmart and explain to the cashier why I didn't buy anything, which I don't think I've ever went in and not bought something from there. But with the small business, it's a little bit different because it's more niche products, right? These are big box stores. Now, if it's a bigger boutique, if it's a boutique, that's a little bit different, right? No one is going to flat out say like, hey, I just think it's super overpriced. I could buy this on Amazon or on Temu for a lesser price. Obviously, we should not be doing that. We should be supporting our small businesses, but we don't necessarily owe an explanation. And I also don't necessarily like lying. Oh, I'm gonna come back. No, you're not.
We're sorry you couldn't find anything, but please come back and see us sometime soon. My family really appreciates your business, especially this time of year. Bye-bye. Bye, thank you. Everything you guys make by hand is really cute and all, but I just found like pretty much the same thing on Amazon for like half the price. And it comes in so many different colors. So hope your family starves for Christmas and you guys can afford to put gifts under the tree for your kids or whatever. But yeah, good luck. Kiss my ass.
How it feels to leave a small business without buying anything. Your art is well worth the price. However, I am poor. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure if you said that to a small business owner, they would not, maybe like 1%, but then that person shouldn't be in business, would probably laugh and be like, yeah, I get it. Oh my God. My sister was at an art fair and had not sold anything. Some kid walks by and says to her mom, we made those in 4th grade. You know what, little Jessica? Shut your little trap, okay? I would throw hands with the mom, like, your child is so rude. Anyway, the small products where I live literally buy the products off of Amazon and mark them up. That's a whole other story. A lot of these small businesses too aren't actually just making it by hand. They're not making their own products. They're doing what dropshippers do and buy in bulk and then sell it. And there was no hand that they had in making it. At least with like the cheaper 3D printing looks, at least they kind of made it themselves, right? They had the printer make it, but these people are just buying in bulk and selling that crap. Like, I don't know if you've ever been to when you're on vacation and you go down the main promenade, whatever the main boulevard street, where all of the tourist accessories are, you will notice that like 9 times out of 10, they're all selling the same things. They probably all buy it from the same place. It just has, you know, their country, Albania, Mexico, Czech Republic. No, it's not really unique. It's just different names. Okay, so now let's talk about the thing no one really wants to say out loud is the pricing. Supporting a small business is one thing, but at some point the math has to make sense for the customer too, because as we're about to see, not every owner has figured this part out.
Customer, I'd like to order cookies and will pay $1.50 each. Me, sorry, we're not within your budget. Customer, send me the invoice for $1.50. Me, sends picture of ingredients. Customer, what the?
Like, okay, I understand customers do not set prices, but typically when you're a small business owner, you can barter a bit. That's at least how we used to do things, or so I assume. I've never actually bartered with anyone before. Let me know if that's a thing that you guys still do. But $1.50 for a cookie, I think is a good price. Now it depends what kind of cookie it is. Is it one of those like really intricate design, you know, the piped icing cookies? That makes a little bit more sense to cost more than $1.50. Even more than $3 if it's more intricate. Is it for a wedding? Like, what are these cookies for? If it's just like a dozen cookies, they don't care what it is. It's just like chocolate chip that you can put in and out of your oven. I don't know. I don't think that's so bad of an ask. $1.50 for a single cookie is already expensive. I can buy a whole pack for $3. And the business owner replies here with, can you purchase a cookie with your name stamped on it at the supermarket? And I think you probably could, right? Like they have custom cakes, but I don't know if they have custom cookies. I've never purchased one of those items before from there, but you could do like some sort of piping on the cookie, but that makes sense, right? If you're going to do a little bit more intricate stuff, $1.50, maybe we're going to have to go a little bit higher there.
You think $10 for one cookie is insane? All right, let's break this down. A custom order of 2 dozen cookies at $10 a cookie, that is $240. Immediately, let's deduct say $10 for supplies and ingredients, that leaves $230. Now let's talk about the total time it takes to make those 2 dozen custom cookies. Communication with the client, 1 hour. Designing the set, 30 minutes. Making the dough and baking, 1 hour. Making icing, mixing colors, bagging icing, 1 hour. Decorating, 4 hours. Cleanup, 15 minutes. Packaging, 15 minutes. That's a total of 8 hours. 230 divided by 8 is $28.75 an hour. 40 hours a week for 50 weeks a year, because yes, I would like 2 weeks of unpaid vacation. That's $57,500. Is $57,500 a year an insane salary? Also, let's take into consideration that I live in New York City, one of the most expensive cities to live in. If I charged half that at $5 a cookie, which most in this comment section would still call too much, that would be a salary of $28,750.
It says, I'm sorry, but $10 a cookie is actually insane. I have to say $10 per cookie is actually insane. Now we saw earlier the $1.50 for a cookie and that was rejected. $10? You do live in New York City, but also you still don't really make enough money to live on your own in New York City unless you're really like savvy with your money and have a bunch of roommates. I'm a nurse and I have this salary, so yes, $50,000 for making cookies is ridiculous. $57,000 isn't a ridiculous salary. $10 per cookie is. I'm so confused because these aren't like special or unheard of cookies and nobody made you live in New York City. Way too overpriced. That's another thing. You can't expect people to understand the choices that you made in life and feel bad for you when no one says you need to live in New York City. You can always go live in a cheaper cost of living place. Obviously, maybe you have always wanted to live in New York City, your family lives there. At the end of the day, $10 per cookie, if someone is paying for it, I'm sure there are plenty of people that you can find to sell these $10 cookies to. You just found the wrong audience on TikTok. Would I ever necessarily buy a cookie for $10? Fuck no.
I cannot stand people who are just completely opposed to any attempt of class consciousness, especially small business owners, or le petit bourgeois for people who read. Don't get me wrong, I love supporting small businesses. I would rather go to a small business opposed to a Walmart or a McDonald's or a Starbucks, but these people constantly side with millionaires, billionaires in the 1%. These people constantly vote against the better interests of the working class, and a lot of these people forget that they're working class too. Like, a lot of business owners will lean Republican because they're against policies like raising the minimum wage, and their excuse is like, well, if we raise the minimum wage, then I'll go out of business. If you can't run a business without paying your employees dog shit, then maybe being in business isn't for you. Like, I'm sorry.
I completely agree with that. If well, for one thing, there's a difference between like the federal minimum wage for larger businesses, firms, versus your understaffed, underdeveloped coffee shop that only has one barista working during a breakfast rush. Minimum wage, again, you can't pay your employees a livable wage. You probably shouldn't be in business. They're some of the worst employers too. You'd think having to see their employees every day would make them act right, but no. That's a good point, because typically you do actually get more hands-on with the business owners when you do work for a small business versus if you're working at Walmart. I don't think anyone has, met one of the Waltons who, if you're a Walmart employee. I know there was that one viral video of Marc Jacobs going to his store and the cashier did not recognize him, right? Like, I don't know who you are. Your name could just be Marc Jacobs. I don't care. Like, I only get paid maybe $15 an hour at this luxury store, mind you.
I'll never understand supporting local small businesses, because why would I pay double the price for something and have to leave my house when I can order it on Amazon for half the price and it gets delivered to me? If a small local business is going to charge me $30 for the same item Amazon's going to charge me $10 for, I'm going to go with Amazon, and most people are going to go with Amazon as well, whether they like to admit it or not.
I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this, especially from Black-owned businesses, but this is why I don't shop at most of those businesses. What small businesses do is drive up the price of everything under the preconception that they're a small business, so it's okay. They play heavily on the fact that they're a small business, so they increase the price because no matter what, we're supposed to have empathy for them. But they are ripping their customers off. They're paying $2, $3 for something and charging $50 for it. I get it. You want to have a profit margin, but you can't have a profit margin on something that another place is selling for cheaper. What small businesses have to remember is, at the end of the day, you're still a business. You still need to be competitive with your prices.
And I agree with these two men. You do have to still be competitive with your prices. You need to have some sort of market differentiator if you're going to be pricing on par or above your competitors, because people at the end of the day are still going to go to your Temu's, gonna go to your Amazons. Most people are going to do that. They're not going to go out of their way to buy from you when they can buy the exact same product. It's really sad, but also you have to think logically. You have to have some sort of differentiator in your business. Otherwise, no one's gonna feel bad for you. And I know this is mean to say, no one's gonna feel bad for you because you decided to make that decision when there wasn't really a need for what you're selling, if that makes sense. Now, in this next section is where things start to get a little uncomfortable, because while customers are guilted into spending, some of these owners are on the other side of the counter with a whole attitude about it. So take a look at this.
I recently quit my job, and unfortunately the biggest takeaway that I've had from my jobs thus far into my 20s is that I never want to work for a small business again. And I know that there are some good small business owners out there, but they've just never revealed themselves to me as my employer, because I've worked for a few. Guess I didn't learn my lesson the first time, decided to test my luck again. Did I come out lucky? No. It actually kept on getting worse, and I still try to shop small businesses, support small businesses, but when you work for one, there's no HR. There's no benefits, there's just the owners. And bonus points if the owners are a dysfunctional couple, because that is a whole other can of worms. And I mean, some of these small business owners are maniacal, cartoon level villains in the way that they are so outwardly evil, but excuse all of their villainous behavior by going, but I'm just so small. I'm just so small and dainty and petite and tiny, like my tiny little small business. Meanwhile, they're just drop shipping and or mistreating their employees, all while raking in millions in annual profits. Crazy, cruel world that we live in.
She said to me on the last day of my other job. So I have a comment here from one of my other videos on why no one supports small businesses. And the comment says, can confirm, I've worked for small businesses for years after graduating university, and they were all shady and exploitative AF. During uni, I worked at an amusement park owned by a big corporation, and it did suck working there, but they were very, very careful about following the rules in both internal policies and labor laws. That's the thing with small businesses. If they have an HR, it's probably like their child, to be honest. It's probably outsourced to their children to do. And of course, who is the child going to take sides with? Are they going to adhere to their own policies that they wrote, if they wrote any policies at all, if it's not something just made up on the spot? Again, small businesses are less likely to follow labor laws if they can get away with it. Corporations, believe it or not, do at least get some sort of penalty, whether, it's like it's just $1 million fee, fine, which is not even a drop in the bucket of how much money they make. But still, small businesses, they do not care for their own internal policies or the labor laws of the country in which they operate. Oh, that's a long receipt. Okay. It says, if you are placing online orders like this at a small coffee shop, I sincerely hope you go bald. Okay. A lot to unpack here. So I've worked in food service at a chain, and we used to get orders all the time for the businesses that were nearby. And the thing is, if you're gonna place long orders, when are you supposed to do it? Are you supposed to call ahead and ask? I mean, I understand you should probably do that. That would be best for everyone involved, right? So you know that you know exactly when you're gonna get food or get your order. And this is where I might get some pushback, but when you have a small business, isn't the whole point of having a business is getting a lot more business? This is an online order. I've had terrible orders that just came up and they rang up, like, you know, when a soccer game ends and all of the children from that game go into your restaurant and you are slammed. It's still making money, but this is your business, so you actually benefit from it. I don't know, like, let me know if you think I'm wrong. I think this is a little bit petty. Also, to tell someone to go bald. As someone who has a lot of hair, I have thick hair, it's still drying, so it looks a little bit thinner right now. That's a little bit rude. Don't say that. Not that being bald is even bad, okay? My daddy's bald. He's the cutest man I know. If you're bald, don't feel bad. Okay, so here might lend a different perspective. People don't understand the difference between large orders and catering orders. This isn't just a large order. This needs to be set hours or even days for preparation and is very unattainable for just 2 baristas to make it in reasonable time. Mind you, other people are ordering while they're still trying to make this order, so now the whole place is in chaos. So that makes sense, especially if you are short-staffed. I'm thinking from the perspective where one of the rare restaurants, it was always staffed pretty well. Now, if it's one of those large catering orders, that sucks, but you have to get on the phone with whoever made this order and say, hey, are we able to shift the time to a later time, or can we move this to a different date? Or just take the L with this order. Up until now, we've mostly been talking about opinions and frustrations, but this next section is actually where it gets a bit more serious, because some of what's happening in the small business space isn't just an annoyance. It can be a legitimate risk to your health, your money, and your trust. Continuing to shape loaves as if I didn't just find a hair in it, no one tell my customers. And people tore into this lady in the comments. So you posted this on the internet, by the way. I hope you lose some customers because this is actually disgusting. Honestly, I'm hoping to lose some of my customers too. They can take their bread business elsewhere, which is so I never understood when you get backlash, just delete the video, to be honest. It is still up. This is from December of 2025 of last year, right? You did not need to keep this TikTok up still. I understand it probably generated more views and clicks for you, but it's not positive. I understand, you know, all publicity is good publicity, even bad publicity is still publicity. Girl, you're a small business. I don't know if bad publicity ruining your reputation of having hair in your bread is good to have. I know this is a joke, but you'll probably lose customers from this. You should probably delete it for your sake. And she has not deleted the video, which she really should.
Let's have a really uncomfortable conversation about small businesses. In the US, this is completely legal, as long as there's no microbial contamination or use of unimproved ingredients, improper labeling, misbranding, or failure to meet safety standards. You're allowed to mix a bunch of ingredients together in a plastic bowl, package them, and sell them. But that doesn't mean you should. Before I go further, don't get it twisted. Women have been making their own beauty products at home, particularly women of color, for generations. They were never doing it at mass. It's no coincidence that we're seeing all of these homemade beauty brands come out of the US, and that's because of TikTok Shop. This business model of having a 2-minute long clip and showing the entire process of a product being made and then being able to shop it for less than $20 or without leaving the app is a Temu dream. It's so reflective of trend culture and modern shopping habits. So many of the comments on these videos are about the price and affordability of these products, but they're so cheap because this is how it's made. It also means that someone with a mixing bowl and a bunch of bulk ingredients can sell 20 SKUs, which just isn't how cosmetic manufacturing works. Small businesses actually creating one really great product and selling enough of it to be able to invest in building out their offering over time is hard bloody work. They can't offer this constant newness right out of the gate because this isn't what manufacturing should look like.
I agree with her there. Like, how do you, as a person who is working on products at home, like on your stovetop, how do you measure the safety or sort of like the stability of these products? Like, how do you know what your actual shelf life is for these products? I have no qualms really with people selling their own made products, like to each their own. Some people really do like to buy homemade stuff. For me, it's a little bit risky. I would like to at least see an ingredients list. Now they can of course, put an ingredients list as they know the ingredients that they're putting into their products, but it just seems a little risky, especially when it's on a more mass scale versus going to like your local farmer's market and they have like a limited supply. And now in this next section is over hair salons specifically. It is so difficult to find good hairstylists, good hair salons to go to. And as these people found out, some of y'all are just downright fraudulent and scammy. Let's take a look here.
The only thing worse than going to a dry bar or working at dry bar is going to get your hair done, knowing it's trash, and then putting a phone there to record yourself being pissed off through the whole service so you can post it later. Like, get your ass up and leave. I literally had a client at dry bar one time say she loved it and then went home and left a bad review. Like, where are these Karens being born and raised?
The thing is, when you go to a place like Dry Bar, it's not necessarily a small business. I think it's franchise. I'll try to correct myself here. It is so awkward to just up and leave. Say you don't like something, a service that has been rendered, right? When I go to get my nails, they're like, do you like your nails? And sometimes I have just genuinely hated what they did to my nails. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm not used to going to this place. It's a new place to me. I don't want to make them upset. I don't want them to, I don't know, ban me from the nail salon or get up in arms and yell at me. Maybe that's like my anxiety speaking. It probably is my anxiety speaking. You also have to make that sort of comforting environment for your client to speak up. Walking home with wet hair because the salon wanted to charge me $50 extra just to dry it after I had already paid $240 for my service. Have you guys ever been to a salon and they charge you extra to blow dry your hair? To me, that seems illogical because the logical thing to do would be to have the most beautiful presentation of the hair that you just colored for your client. That seems incredibly greedy to me. To not blow dry the hair, don't you want to at least have your client take pictures of themselves immediately, post a review that they love their hair, their nicely done hair? Here we don't know really. I mean, the color looks fine, but we don't know. We don't see the full picture of what her hair was supposed to look like finished because it's been wet.
At a hair salon, if I say the word no, that means no. I feel like stylists these days are trying to like nickel and dime and trying to get as much money as possible out of you. So a couple months ago, the hairstylist was like, okay, I'm gonna add a hair treatment because she can see from my past history, I've done hair treatments before. And I said, no, I'm not gonna do one today. The hairstylist got really combative with me. She's like, fine, if you're not gonna do one today, you need to do one next time. And then I said, I have hair treatments at home. I have a solution. The rest of my hair appointment, I felt like uncomfortable. I could feel that she was upset because I said the word no. Has anyone ever experienced that where like they're—
If you say no, that should be, right? People say no is a full sentence, full stop. They should stop when you say no. You don't need to do this treatment. They need to make you feel welcome or at least warm up to the idea. You know what? Sure, I said no this time, but maybe I will say yes the next time. But now that you basically are going to force me to do it the next time, I don't even think I'm going to book an appointment with you next time. Like, you see how that logic works there? Don't do this to your clients, please. So this next video is absolutely diabolical. I understand, right? You are a small business owner. You need to make money, but this is incredible. Let me know what you think about all the fees that she's going to charge this woman.
Which is $3,135, and then my after hours fee is going to be $800. So perfect. Okay.
Okay, so I just had a client reach out to me. She's one of my regulars, so this is nothing like out of the ordinary, but she asked if I could do an after hours appointment because she wants a new install before this weekend. And I have no openings, and so she knows I offer after hours appointments on Saturdays and Sundays, but it does come with a hefty cost. So I pretty much am on call to my clients, but let's get ready. We're going to go do this appointment. I'm not going to get dressed and all crazy like I usually do for work. I'm literally meeting her up there in an hour. So let's go do this appointment.
Okay, so Mariah is doing an after hours appointment, which is pretty much like my normal regular clients know that if they call me, I have a day or a fee if you want to come in on Sunday or days that I don't work because I'm so busy. And they're willing to pay it. So Mariah said, I'll pay your after hours fee. Can I bring my kid? You bring your baby and we gonna watch it for you and do your hair. This is mama's day out.
Babysitter service.
Exactly, babysitter service. Okay, so normally we do 14 wefts for 24-inch is $140 per weft. So the hair is gonna be $1,960, and then we're doing 3 rows. It's gonna be $300 per row. So it's going to be $900 for your install, and then your color is going to be $275, which is $3,135, and then my after hours fee is going to be $800. So perfect. Okay, so your total should be about $39.35. Sweet. Okay, all right, let's get it done.
And this is where we tie it all together, because underneath all of it, the guilt trips, the prices, the attitudes, there's a bigger story about how small businesses have sold us the underdog narrative. And a lot of people are starting to see through it. That said, of course, there are some legitimate struggles that small business owners do go through, and this is what it looks like.
Here are some things I can finally say now that I don't own a business anymore. Number one, I don't miss people asking for donations. There, I said it. It would be like, I need a donation for my neighbor's python snake that ate a goat and the goat got stuck in the python esophagus. And we're having a fundraiser this Saturday and we need a $400 donation. Are you, what? I had people come in, they would walk in the door and look around and literally out their mouth, they would say, oh my gosh, I've never been here before.
So with the donation thing, when I was in high school, I was a part of orchestra, and in order to raise money, in order to go on a trip, right? So we would typically go to Chicago, Washington, DC. Every 2 or 3 years, there would be a pool so that kids would go to have like a Paris-London trip or a Rome trip and raise money for that. So I was always tasked with going and finding donations for these sort of things. And I would always hit up businesses because I'm like, can they say no to like a 14, 15-year-old? They do. They do a lot. So girl, you could have done that.
Can you give me a donation? And it's like, no, it doesn't work that way. And then I would see, and this didn't happen to me, but I would see other businesses that if they didn't donate, they'd get lit up online. Stop asking small businesses for donation. It's maddening. You just can't win. Number two, I don't miss the last minute order that you forgot about. And I'm talking to husbands. That now is my emergency. Husband would call and say, my wife's birthday is tonight, or my wife's birthday is tomorrow. Can I pick up a cake in the morning? Dude, you fucked up. I can't help you. I always learn that your emergency does not mean it's my emergency. An emergency to you does not mean it's my emergency. I can't help you. The husband's not thinking ahead. We would always try and help if we could. Trust me, because as an owner, I need that money. We're gonna add a charge, but I think the last thing
I gotta say, husbands, if you're out here not remembering your wife's birthday, your anniversary, Mother's Day, other important days to her, y'all suck. And asking for last minute gifts, you need to have a reminder on your phone. Okay, you know what? Let's step by now. When is your wife's birthday? Put that in your phone. Have a reminder for it. 3 days. Remind you in 3 days so you buy something. Okay.
that I'd like to say that get off my chest is that I do not miss people talking down to people that work in food service. I don't miss it. It doesn't matter who you are. I've seen it happen to servers. I've seen it happen to bartenders. It's happened to me. I've seen it happen to general managers. I think every single server that worked for me came in the back of house and cried at least once because somebody was horrible. I
completely get that. When I worked in food, in the drive-thru, a lady was upset with, I guess, she looked at the sandwich. It was a tuna sandwich in the drive-thru. She's like, this isn't a good sandwich. She chucks the tuna sandwich at me and speeds off. Obviously no charges were pressed, but as a 16, 17-year-old, I was so sad. I cried in the back, like somebody threw a tuna sandwich at me. But this is not unusual at all for people to be rude to customer service workers, to retail workers, to anyone who is supposed to serve you and service you in any way, shape, or form. I made a whole video on that, so you can check that out after this video if you would like. Some people are genuinely so entitled and so out of touch with what it means to be a human being. So what do you think? Do you think small business owners are in the right to complain about a lot of these things? Or do you think we're just being petty about people who aren't giving us a good price on an item that we want? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and click on this video next if you want to see more small business nonsense.